Hey guys, welcome back to Technologic. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the Aftershock Flow gaming PC. This is Aftershock's latest addition in their selection of gaming PCs, and it now features the latest Intel 12th Gen processors. Is it good? Continue watching to find out. Let's go. Before we begin, huge thanks to Aftershock PC for lending me this PC to review. All the information in this video is my own opinion on the PC. With that, let's move on to the review. First, let's take a look at the design. The case here is the Corsair 4000D Airflow, and it looks great. There is a cool design on the front panel, which also allows for good airflow into the PC. Speaking of airflow, the airflow in this case is very good. With a total of 6 fans, the components in this PC will be kept cool. This can be seen in the benchmarks and games later. These fans are also fully RGB, and I really like the way they look. This RGB can all be controlled by the Corsair IQ software, as most of the components here are from Corsair. This is nice, as I don't usually see Corsair components like RAM and AIO coolers in PCs here in Singapore. Next, let's take a look at the specs of the PC. The one I have here has the brand new 12th Gen Intel i7-12700KF CPU with 12 cores and 20 threads. 8 of the cores are performance cores and 4 of them are efficiency cores. This CPU is a beast, and stay tuned for the performance testing I do later in this video. This CPU is cooled by the Corsair H100i Elite LCD AIO water cooler, which is nice. Next, it also has the Gigabyte RTX3080 gaming OC graphics card with 10GB of GDDR6X VRAM. This is an extremely rare and powerful graphics card with great cooling, and is a great combination with the i7 CPU. Moving on, it also has 32GB of superfast DDR5 RAM from Corsair, which is nice. This RAM has a rated speed of 5200 MHz, which is insanely fast. As this is DDR5, each RAM module has its own voltage regulator, which helps improve performance and latency. Next, it also has a 512GB Gen 4 SSD for fast storage. All these components are on the brand new Z690 Aorus Pro motherboard from Gigabyte. This is a great motherboard and can allow for good overclocking of the components. For the power supply unit, there is an EVGA 850W 80+ gold power supply unit, which is fully modular. For the cables, there are nice high quality black sleeved cables, which makes the PC look even more premium. Overall, these are extremely high-end and high-quality components, which is amazing. However, these are not the only specs that come with a Flow PC, and you can configure it however you like on Aftershock's website. I will leave the link of the PC in the description below, and you can check it out if you want to. Next, let's look at the games. For all the games, I played them at 4K resolution, and I cranked up all the settings to the highest. The latest version of Windows 11 was also used for all of these tests. Firstly, we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I downloaded the trial version of this game and I ran the inbuilt benchmark. From this, I got an average FPS of 91, which is great for a game like this at 4K max settings. There are 3 different categories of FPS shown in this benchmark, which are the CPU game, CPU renderer, and GPU. Here are the FPS readings obtained from the benchmark. Next, we have GTA 5. I ran the inbuilt benchmark and I got an FPS which are consistently more than 150 throughout the entire thing. This is very impressive, especially because I ran the benchmark at 4K max settings. This is the highest score I've reached in this game, which is amazing. Next, we have Fortnite. For this game, I got an average FPS of about 80 to 85, which is great for RTX Fortnite at 4K. You can get much more performance by turning down the resolution to 1440p. But no matter how much FPS I get, I can't get any kills in this game, which is unfortunate. Next, we have the benchmarks. First, we have the Cinebench R23 benchmark. I ran the multi-core benchmark and I got an impressive score of over 22,000. For reference, a Ryzen 9 5900X, which has 12 cores and 24 threads, gets 21,878 according to CPU Monkey. This 20-thread Intel Core i7-12700KF beats this score in this benchmark, which is really impressive. In fact, The i7 beats the Ryzen 9 in almost all the tests run by CPU Monkey. I will leave the link to that in the description below. Next, we have the Corona 1.3 benchmark. For this benchmark, I got a render time of 1 minute and 16 seconds and an average raise per second of over 6.3 million. These scores are really good for this benchmark. Next, we have the CPU profile benchmark in 3D Mark. I ran this test because I wanted to test the CPU more than the GPU. The core frequency stayed constant at about 4.6 GHz throughout the entire benchmark, and these are the scores obtained. From this, we can see that the CPU performs very well to up to 16 threads, and the score does not increase a lot when all 20 threads are used. This is because the last 4 cores are the efficiency cores, so the result is expected. Either way, this score is already very high. Finally, we have Puget Bench for DaVinci Resolve. From this benchmark, I got a standard overall score of 1630, a 4K media score of 115, a GPU effect score of 129, and a Fusion score of 245. So, editing videos on this CPU should be very smooth. Next, let's look at the thermals. Throughout all the benchmarks and games, the CPU did not go over 80 degrees Celsius, while the GPU did not cross 70 degrees Celsius. In fact, the CPU did not even reach 70 degrees during all the games. So, we can see that the Corsair cooler here is quite efficient and that the airflow in this case is really good. Because of the good cooling performance, I would expect the overclocking of this CPU and GPU to be quite good in this case. Overall, I am very impressed with the performance of the 12th gen Intel CPU, and it seems that Intel has the lead in the CPU performance now. Anyway, the Aftershock Flow PC is a great gaming PC which has great cooling and aesthetics. If you are looking for an extremely powerful gaming PC which can run all games at 4K ultra settings, this PC might be for you. While not being gigantic like other well-cooled gaming PCs, this chassis is not too large and will be able to fit in most gaming setups. Prices may change in the future, so I will leave the links to Aftershock and this PC in the description below. With that is the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!